So now we have to update the header component. So when we sign in, we want to actually have our image. So suppose I'm signing in with Google Auth, I could get my image right from Google, and I want that over here populated on my nav bar. So how do I do that, right? I want to change that. So to do that, it's pretty simple. All we got to do is, first of all, we have to close all, and we have to collapse this. So okay, and now what we have to do is we got to go to the client, we got to go to the source, components, header, and we have to update the header. So if we go to the header component, you could see over here that we have a couple of things, but we have to go all the way down to this part where you could see there's this sign in. You see this link, which is sign in, and that's exactly this link. This is the sign in from the header. So we gotta basically update that. I could just close this other things out and just look into this. Okay, so let's go back here, and you can see this is the sign in I'm talking about, and this is there, but we gotta have to change it a little bit here. So what we want to do is we want to actually replace this a little bit with some conditional things, and we have to check if whether it's logged in, the person is logged in or not. So we could actually put in one important thing, which is called basically used to test the whether the user is logged in or not. So you already know what it is. It's basically called selector. So use selector, and that's from React Redux. So you could just basically have that there. Now, essentially everything is in single quotes. I'll put in single quotes as well. I would recommend being consistent. Okay. And now what we want to do is, but it works with both with single and double quotes. So now what we want to do is we want to have user selector added. So we could actually have it right here, initialized. So we could have const. We have basically we have So basically what we do is we could say current user. This is the user. I'm going to tell you where it's coming from. It's coming from our reducer, remember? So it's basically not reducer, but our state. Use selector, and then we have the state, and then the name of our state was user, so state.user. Remember, this came from our user slice. So that's why we now could check this out and see whether the person is logged in or not. So we could say user selector over here. So right in the sign in part right here, you could see this was just a toggle, right? But over here is the main thing. So sign in, so we could just have a conditional thing over here. And we could call it whether it's user, if the current user is logged in or not, right? So what I could do is I could just put in over here, so current user, like that, okay, if the current user is logged in. So we could basically have question, and then we have this, okay, and then colon, and then this parentheses again. So in parentheses we put this, I'll explain what I'm talking about here. So okay, so we need something over here as well in the other part. So we could put a drop down here. Let me just put a flow byte drop down. So drop down from flow byte. Let's just close it here as well. Now let me explain what's happening here. It's saying if the current user exists, then you want to show this drop down, okay, with the image and everything. And if not, then you could just show the sign in plain button, right, like this. Right now it feels like it's not logged in, right? But we want to have that simulation when someone logs in. You could see the profile picture and then get an idea that the person is actually logged in. So over here, what we want to do is, first of all, we have this drop down, right? This is from Flowbyte, so you need to make sure to import it. And then in here, what you could do is you could say arrow. Okay, one thing. Believe you didn't actually see one thing. Okay, we got an issue with current user, I believe. Where is this coming from? Oh yeah, so we didn't spell current user properly. Current user, like that. Okay, now you can see this drop down. You see this? It means I'm logged in. Perfect. This code is working. Now over here, what we want to do is we want to remove this arrow. So to remove that arrow, you could just say, so you could basically say arrow icon, and then we have is false, remove the arrow. You could have an inline, this could just remove that thing, and instead it would replace it with an image. So we could have that from the current user's dot profile picture, remember? So what we're going to say is label is equal to, and then we have this quotes, squiggly brackets, and in here we have this avatar. This is also coming from Flowbyte React, and we could say is alt, and then that is the text. We could just say, you know, user, okay, and then the source or the image of the, you know, picture, that's basically going to come from the current user dot profile picture. This is basically saved in the, you know, state, and then we could just simply close it like you know, 1 minute, like this. Okay, so it's supposed to show the image. Somehow it didn't show the image. So let me see what's wrong. Refresh, inspect console, no problems here. I can't see my image. Okay, it's not saved. That's the main thing. So we got to save it. Control S. And now that image is populated. Great. I had to save the file. Now what we want to do is we want to have that thing rounded, just to make it look good as well. So we could have rounded. Okay, so we could just say rounded. This is just going to make sure that whenever there's something different, we could just make it rounded. Okay, that's great. That's our image. That's our image, and now we can move on to the next part. Next part is right after this, you know, drop down. We could have some header. So we could just say drop down header. So drop down, and then we have dot header. Okay. And in here we could put in things. So first of all, let's put a span tag, and we could get the user person's information. So class name. Again, this is Tailwind. So block. And 1 second. So first of all, let me put the user current. So it's basically current user again, and then we have dot, and then we could put username. And now you should see it when I save the file. So when I save the file, okay, so now if I save the file, I click on it, you can see my username. Awesome. The same thing we want for the next part. So we could say Alt, Shift, and down, and not username, but we want to see the email. And then when we save it, now we can see the email as well. Amazing. But what we want to do is a little make it different. So we could put an @ sign here. And now you can see that is my username, and you know, we could also put in text small just to make it a little smaller. Okay, we could put in this thing, which is block, and then we could have text -sm. This is all Tailwind, remember. And then we have font medium to make the font thicker. So you can see if I save it, font medium, and then we have the last thing, which is truncate. TRUNCATE. This means if the text is too long, then we could have a ... So you could see a little bold, and you know, if it's long, email is gonna have the dots to truncate it. Perfect. I mean, everything looks good here. Now we have done that. Our drop down header is good. Let's add a link. So right after this, we could add a link. So we could just basically add a link, and then we have 2, and then we could basically go to the if I go / dashboard, and then we have / or a question tab, and then equal to profile. This is a link that I'm going to explain why we're going here, but let me just write it first. So over here we have link, and then here we have a drop down item, and then that's going to be called, so drop down item, and then in here we have profile. Okay, and same thing goes for, there's a 1 minute. So there you can see it's updating by itself. Over here we could do is provider. So drop down. So we have a drop down divider that has a line that could separate things by 1 minute. So divider, we could have a self-closing tag instead, and of course we don't need that. Now if I add in another one, so suppose drop down so if I add the other one, so that you can see right now, you see that divider, and right after that we could have drop down dot divider. I mean, that's done. Now we want item, and we could have on click to handle sign out, but we don't want to do that right now, so we could just have this item like this, and this could be called sign out, or you could just have it with lowercase. Great. Profile, sign out, drop down is done, and that's pretty much it, I believe. So now this is there. Okay, max it out, looks like this. I mean, it's super good because Flowbyte doesn't allow us to do a lot of bit of styling. We just have to add the components and naturally follow its rules, and then you could get something like this. Now if I click on profile, you can see it could take me to the dashboard page, and then question tab equal to profile. This is where the profile page will be. Okay, the dashboard. Sign out doesn't actually really work, but we're gonna fix that out. Right now, if you go to the network application, over here you go to the local storage, you see this user is being stored, right? This ID, you can see the username, all of this stuff is being stored. So if I actually remove this, so suppose if I delete it and then refresh the page, you can see now I have to sign in. So this is amazing.